Good evening. Tonight, we are delving into agriculture, and our guest is the general manager for the group Ethical Holdings, Mr. Tyson Ngongoni. Mr. Ngongoni, welcome to the program.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. You all right?
I'm good, Day.
Winter?
It's a bit cold, but it's all good. We'll survive.
As long as there's no frost.
Of course.
Frost in your line of business, you wouldn't want to see frost.
We don't want it to affect the crops. Yeah.
Sure. Mr. Ngongoni, Ethical Holdings, you've been around for some time.
Sure.
But most people, they probably know you, particularly because of the work that you are doing in the tobacco sector, where your subsidiary, Ethical Leaf Tobacco, is heavily involved with smallholder farmers.
Sure.
But what would you want to tell us in a nutshell? What makes up Ethical Holdings?
Sure. Thank you, Guthrie. So, Ethical Holdings was formed in 2016, and the founder of it is David Machingaidze, and I so happen to be his group general manager. Ethical Holdings has got 3 subsidiaries. It has got Ethical Leaf Tobacco, which is into the contract scheme, where it contracts mainly smallholder farmers. Then we also have Zimbabwe Cotton Consortium. We're also in the white gold contracting. So it also contracts smallholder farmers. And we have got our own insurance company, which is called Ethical Microinsurance, where we'll insure the crop that we have grown through contract farming. So in a nutshell, that's Ethical Holdings, and it has been in existence for the past 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You talk of the white gold,
Sure.
cotton, and for a number of years, the story hasn't been really that good.
Sure.
In that sector.
Sure.
Are you hopeful of the rebound of the white gold?
Yes, we are actually hopeful. Of late, it had been on a nosedive, but recently, during this year, we have seen an upward increase in cotton growing. So we are actually hopeful through the support that will give our growers and through the presidential input scheme that has been introduced by our government. We are so hopeful that the cotton industry will bounce back. Mm-hmm. And Gokwe will reclaim its glory. You know, Gokwe is an area where people grow cotton.
Sure. You have been around, I would say, since 2016, and you have had an understanding of the state of agriculture and the agriculture industry in Zimbabwe. What is your assessment from the time that you started to where we are now in terms of the sector? Are you seeing some growth? Are you seeing some good signs? Are you seeing some green shoots?
Sure. For the past 10 years, I've seen an upward increase in production, as in productivity increased. I've seen growth in terms of revenue from the company perspectives and also on the fiscus, because agriculture, Zimbabwe is also known as the breadbasket of SADC. So we're trying to reclaim its glory. So over the past 10 years, my assessment in terms of the tobacco industry per se, because we are into tobacco growing, we have noticed that we have surpassed the norm. Normally it was hovering around 250 million kilos, but to date we have surpassed plus 350 million kgs of tobacco which has been produced. So I'm seeing an upward increase in terms of production, and also that increase in terms of production yielded an increase in the exports that we're exporting in terms of agricultural produce. So over the past years, I think this industry is booming.
So there is a beautiful story to talk about the works of an ordinary Zimbabwean smallholder farmer.
Sure.
Particularly in the production of tobacco. And so as a company, as Ethical Leaf Tobacco, what have you done to make sure that you contribute to the growth of those smallholder farmers, including improving their own livelihoods?
Sure. Thank you. So what we've done as Ethical Leaf Tobacco, we have a mantra that we go about, which goes like farmer first. Everything that we do starts with the farmer. So in terms of, we want to improve the farmer's viability when he goes on farming, and when he gets the rewards from the produce, he has to make something meaningful. So what we have done as Ethical Leaf Tobacco, we are into contract farming. So we provide inputs that we give our contracted growers. So we give them from the seed pack, which is the seed variety, and the seed varieties that we give them, they're actually hybrid seeds. And of these hybrid seeds, they will yield a greater kilos per hectare. And we also give them fertilizers and chemicals and packaging. As Ethical Leaf Tobacco, since we provide contract farming to our growers, we also provide the market for these growers. Then it becomes easy for them. They will know where to come and sell. So Ethical Holdings, we provide the sales floors for our growers. So in terms of that, once they get a return out of that, it improves their viability. They can go back and grow the crop the next season.
Mm-hmm. You know, interesting, because there was a time that the deliveries to the auction floors were actually nosediving. And part of the reason that we're proffered with that the farmers simply don't have the means to increase their production. And then the advent of contract farming, we saw again the trend going upwards in terms of production. So would you say it's better to have contract farming than not to have contract farming? Because there's this school of thought that if you go on contract farming, no, I mean, look, at the end of the day, when you get your paycheck, you have to check, but you still have to pay off what you will have been provided.
Sure.
But again, you're looking at the good yields. And then the others were saying that, but if you don't do that, we're going to have a problem. So I know that, I mean, look, we are conflicted here, being the person who concerns the farmers.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but which is the best model at the moment?
So it's good to have a blend of the two, both auction and contract. But if you have noticed, in terms of the tobacco which has been grown in Zimbabwe, the 350 million kgs that we have achieved during this current season, 95% of the crop is grown through contract farming. So contract farming provides, provides comfort to these growers. They know that they will have the inputs, they will have a market, and they will have that assistance from us experts, because we provide agronomical services, which are our extension services from our agronomists who are out there. So it gives them the comfort that whatever that they are growing, it's being grown by an expert, rather than growing it on your own.
Okay. So the keyword is comfort.
Yes.
My producers here on 3K TV, they want to be in the comfort of sticking to time. So I don't want to overrun this. So we'll speak more about what you're doing after this break.
Sure.
Please join us in the second segment as we speak to the Group General Manager for Ethical Holdings, Mr. Tyson Ngongoni. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are in the second segment of this week's program. And to those who have been with us from the beginning, we'll continue our discussion tonight with the Group General Manager for Ethical Holdings. But we have been discussing more on tobacco, a side which is being handled by the subsidiary, Ethical Leaf Tobacco. Mr. Ngongoni, when we went for the break, we were talking about the contract farming and the results that we are seeing in the industry. That's the tobacco industry.
Sure.
Record deliveries. And you were saying that 95% of the deliveries are actually from contracted farmers.
Sure.
So do you believe that we can sustain this surge in terms of deliveries?
Sure, we can sustain this surge in terms of deliveries. The target for the next coming season, and players are now actually contracting, we want to surpass 400 million kgs. So there's a huge appetite in terms of contracting more growers, and we want to achieve a record-breaking volume, because you see maybe the Ministry of Agriculture, Land, Fisheries and Water, through their tobacco strategy value proposition, they've said that we want to grow this industry into a $5 billion industry. So there's a huge appetite in terms of increasing production. So that can come in form of contract farming. Also other players, or what we call free farmers, they can also come into this space.
Mm-hmm. No, at one time, the government was actually looking to establish a US $8.5 billion agriculture industry. But obviously, that figure has been revised to about $5 billion by 2030. Do you believe that we are in a situation where the country can transform the agricultural industry to be able to realize this target of creating a $5 billion industry within the next 5 years?
Yes, that is possible. The first thing that you do if you want to increase or to attain that value in terms of revenue of 8 billion, the first thing that you do is you need to increase production and productivity. How you increase production and productivity? First, you have to increase the hectarage which is being grown under tobacco. So you increase hectarage, you increase the number of growers, and I'm happy. Of late, I've heard about recent developments at TIMB, which is the Tobacco Research Board. They have come up with new varieties which are resilient to drought, and also which yields more kilos per hectare. So if you have got a combination of increased hectarage, increased yield capacity, you can increase production. Once you have increased production, you move on to policy. The policies that are in place currently are actually favorable because they are on the trajectory, or their main aim is to increase or to attain this goal of 8 billion. Then, of late, I've noticed that we have about 10 manufacturing plants which manufactures cigarettes. So if you increase cigarette manufacturing, because Zimbabwe has been known of exporting raw tobacco instead of processing tobacco. So if you process tobacco, that's value addition. Mm-hmm. So we create value from something which is, from a $3 tobacco per kg to something which is like $9. So value addition increases our revenues. And also, if we transform that into cigarette now, we'll be printing money. So we might even surpass the 8 billion and go to 15 billion if we are to export our tobacco in cigarette form. So the government probably should have policies or include other players to participate in the cigarette space. As Ethical Holdings, we are in the process of establishing our own plant. We have been into production, processing, but now we have grown. We want to enter the cigarette space. So I think we can attain the 8 billion or even surpass it within the next 5 years.
Fantastic. You actually took words out of my mouth, because I was going to talk about beneficiation, but I'll ask you about that later on. You've partly answered that question,
sure,
but I would want to discuss that further with you. But when you look at the contracted farmers, they play a huge role, particularly at the primary production side.
Sure.
Do you believe that banks can do more to come in and partner the companies such as yourselves in trying to make sure that we increase the hectarage? And by doing that, we also have probably much better and really valued a product out of that.
Sure. Thank you very much. We are also pushing for that through the ministry, through the TIMB, that we should have local funds which supports our growers and also which supports us as private contractors, because Zimbabwe of late we are relying on money which is coming from other countries coming here for production. But if we have our own local funding, we can fund production, we can fund processing, we can even fund exports, and those monies will come back to Zimbabwe and will improve our livelihoods here in Zimbabwe. So we are actually pushing for that. We want the local funds to come through. Even that, if our farmers, we know we have categories of farmers, we have got our local commercial growers, can easily approach our local banks and get funding. They can buy inputs at their own costs, which becomes even a little bit cheaper on their side. So we actually root for local funding.
Sure. There has been this interesting debate, and that normally picks a lot of steam during the first week of the openings, tobacco auction floors. Mm-hmm. When they open, it really picks up a lot of steam. The commercial tobacco farmer and the smallholder tobacco farmer, the issue on pricing. But again, I want to give you time. Just take a sip. We'll talk about that
later
in the final segment, because it's quite a very interesting debate, and a lot of people would want to understand how it works. But we'll talk about that in the final segment. Please join us in the final segment as we wrap up this week's program, where we have been in discussion with the Group GM for Ethical Holdings, Mr. Tyson Ngongoni. This is the final segment of this week's program. To those who have been with us from the beginning, we are bringing this to a close, like I said earlier. And those who are just joining us, we have been in discussion with the Group GM for Ethical Holdings, and we've been discussing about their role in the agriculture industry. And of course, the main business which is being done and handled by their subsidiary, Ethical Leaf Tobacco. And we have the GM here, Mr. Tyson Ngongoni. Mr. Ngongoni.
Sure.
I don't think it would be fair for me to let you leave the program tonight without having addressed this issue. Because everyone who's always looking at this issue and say, okay, we've heard a lot about side marketing. We've heard a lot about crooks who try to, take advantage of not so exposed farmers, and then they deprive them of real value for their crops. And as a company, how have you dealt with these issues, navigating that route?
Sure. It has been a struggle for the past 9 years, but we have managed to master the game and survive. Side marketing this is when we have contracted a grower, because maybe most people, our viewers, might not know what side marketing is. So we have contracted our growers, given them inputs, working capital, everything to grow the crop. They have grown the crop, and this crop is ours because we are the one who financed the crop. So they have to bring the crop to us, and we purchase it, and the grower has to remain with some level of profit, which will allow them to grow their farming operations and sustain their livelihoods. So when a grower now side markets, he will now sell the crop that we have contracted to another contractor,
which is supposed to be delivered to you.
Yes. So that becomes a problem. So what we have done is Ethical Leaf Tobacco. I have recruited, I'm so proud to say, my generals, my field techs. We ring fence our crop. We monitor mostly on a weekly basis. You see, farmer visits or farmer contacts, reduces that risk of side marketing. If you don't visit them regularly, they'll find their own way to, sneak out and side market some other crop. But if you ring fence your crop, you constantly visit them, give them a guarantee in terms of the value that they'll get out of the contracted crop, the farmers will not go away. Yeah.
So, one might want to ask this question and say, okay, you visit these people and everything looks honky-dory, no issues, life goes on, everything's okay. Do you have incidents where you might have been tried to be cheated on this?
Of course. Incidents are always there.
Because you're talking about the lieutenants and even paid everybody.
Incidents are always there. You know, you can't have a clean slate. You know, incidents are always there. But, you know, when you contract, contract, that's why I've said in the beginning, we also have got an insurance scheme, which cushions us from those shenanigans or credit risks, if I might say. So the insurance will cushion us, and from the insurance, we pass it on to the reinsurer, and, you know, so it gives us some level of comfort. Of course, some who side market.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. You know, we earlier in the program, we spoke about the deliveries and your expectations that by the end of the next marketing season, which is next year, Zimbabwe could have achieved 400 million kg of tobacco. Do you believe that these record deliveries that we keep expecting and we keep registering, they are speaking to the country to move away from just having to export tobacco in its current form and begin to have many plants here in this country where people like yourselves can do value addition and under beneficiation programs?
Sure. So I think the country has the capacity. Zimbabwe has a lot of space. It's all about policy. Allow companies to expand, because value addition is actually critical. You know, you export the crop, or you export in cigarette form. So through the partnerships that we have with our regulator, and also the partnerships through the government is actually introducing us players or merchants to other markets. For example, the Philippines, Vietnam, you know, all those countries, they want our product. So we can export, in some of the cigarette, we can actually sell it locally. Sure. It's only an issue of penetrating the market, but our government is giving us room to do that.
So, should we look forward to seeing e-cigarettes being produced in Zimbabwe?
In the near future. But I like the issue of innovation. I think Zimbabwe, is promoting innovation. So we have some innovation hubs at our local institutions, universities, and our research stations. I think that's something that will be interesting. We'll get there.
Yeah, because right now Zimbabwe is really in the spotlight, in terms of, production. I know during the break we spoke about the hemp production and talking about tobacco production. And we have seen a lot of interest. Though in the hemp production right now, there's a depression.
Sure.
But we've seen some interest, strong interest in the product that come from Zimbabwe. So do you believe, lastly, as your last word, do you believe that we are at a time where we can innovate and even use artificial intelligence to boost our productions?
Sure. I think it's actually something that's actually happening. We have climate smart production in terms of, from the production side, we've got irrigation systems, people are using AI, geofencing, etc. So I think we'll get there. We'll get there.
Sure.
Those are my last words. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Sure.
Mr. Ngongoni, I would like to thank you for having made time to be with us. And for the first time, we have had an institution being part of this program. And we are in our third year of airing. I really appreciate
your
presence.
Been a pleasure.
If you don't regenerate yourself, you will die. If you overindulge, you will die. If you sit on your laurels, you will die. There's only one thing that you can never do, and that's wanting to die. This program continues next week, same time, same station, same presenter, same day, because we don't believe in dying. Good night.